Standard Bank Art Gallery in downtown Johannesburg. It's called Footprints. Take a look.
Known for his fantastic smoky lighting, Chabango presents viewers with images of ordinary people's daily lives through the lens. With this photographic exhibition, the artist documents the rituals of black communities in urban Africa.
The show that we're having here at Standard Bank is titled Footprints. It's a show that traces my involvement in photography for the past 20 years or so. And in this particular exhibition, myself and Nkosi Konewe, who's the curator of this exhibition, we have decided to only concentrate on about 5 sections within my broader scope of work. That will be bridges, hostel interiors, hostel exteriors, sit-in transition, and water is ours.
Footprints indicates Chabango's fascination by religious pilgrimages and deep ceremonies and certain rituals, as well as daily activities like washing clothes, baking bread, carrying firewood, waiting for transport or brewing beer, amongst other things.
I think basically this exhibition was presented to me by the gallery that I work with, Gallery Momo, almost a year ago. And then for the past of that year, Temikos and myself, we've been going through my archives, looking at my work and so forth, and through my negatives and so forth, and deciding which one would work and which one won't work. And you can imagine, and it's almost a year working on that.
Curator at the gallery, Barbara Fremantle, tells us about how they choose different artworks to be part of the corporate collection throughout the year.
We were approached by Momo Gallery to conduct this exhibition, and we were very happy to do so because we love Andrew's work, and we already had 2 works of his in the Standard Bank corporate collection. He's a very sensitive photographer. I think he captures nuances that most of us are not able to capture. We get approached by artists almost every day for exhibitions here in the gallery, but we also look around and see who's really creating a wave in the community, and we invite them to do shows with us.
The exhibition at the gallery will open until the 29th of April.
So for years now, we've all received a little comic booklet known as the Super Strikers in our Sunday papers. Little did you know, one of the illustrators behind these is a young man, an artist out of Butterworth in the Eastern Cape. Today, he's an internationally revered artist with life-size portraits hanging on walls of art collectors all over the world. His ability to capture vividly onto canvas every subject he paints distinct features is simply extraordinary. One of these pieces is now nominated as South Africa's most beautiful object at the 2017 Design Indaba, taking place from the 1st to the 4th of March at the Artscape Piazza in Cape Town. His name is Loyiso Mkhize, and he's in our Cape Town studios. Welcome to Trendz, Loyiso.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Pleasure having you in studio. So this art thing for you, Loyiso, I mean, I understand you initially were always doing, illustrations and comic sketches, but the art thing, that kind of just happened?
Well, I suppose I always knew I could or had the ability to create portraiture in particular. But it only came as a necessity to actually delve into that much later into my creative life. I'm pretty sure it was like 7 years ago. And it was completely off the wing. And as soon as I picked up that paintbrush, I pretty much knew that this was now going to accommodate the adult version of Loyiso. Comic books always spoke to the younger version of me. So that duality worked quite well as an illustrator and a painter today.
Okay. And so next week is the Design Indaba and your most beautiful object in South Africa. Congratulations on the nomination, by the way. But I mean, it's absolutely amazing. What did you say when you were told?
Well, gee whiz, you can never expect something like that because obviously, we're artists and most of our time, 90% of our time is spent in the studio. So you can never expect being celebrated outside the studio, and it's always such a jarring experience.
Yeah.
Of course, I was flattered and very humbled by that. It's a piece that I worked very hard on. It's a very detailed artwork that
How
speaks
long
about
did
a
it
lot
take?
of things, particularly celebrating the feminine.
Yeah, sorry, Loyiso,
particularly in the
just to
African
cut you there.
context. So it's a very heartfelt type of artwork, and I'm so glad that it spoke to people in such a way that they could actually, celebrate it within such a big platform such as Design Indaba.
All right, sure. Loyiso, I just wanted to say, how long, does a piece like the one that's been nominated, how long does it take you to put together?
Gee, anything from 3 weeks to a month, and
Okay.
that's pretty much because like a week or a week and a half is pretty much just research about what I'm creating. Remember that I'm trying to tell a story here, and so I want to be as accurate or as empathetic as possible. I want to hit the notes as deliberately and as precisely as possible. So there's a lot of thought that goes into that before I even touch the canvas. And when I do, of course, I think for that particular piece, it took me a good 2 weeks painting and another week and a half just researching and conceptualizing.
Wow, amazing. And of course, then let's talk about Kwezi. That's your brainchild. Like I did mention before, you've been a part of the Super Strikers family, but what prompted, this African comic book superhero series? I mean, I see there one guy's wearing a Basotho hat. Absolutely amazing. Tell us how Kwezi came to life.
Well, Kwezi came to light at a very young age. Actually, I think I was 16 when I first had the question in my mind that when are we going to have our own superhero? I mean, I'd been reading Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man as a young kid coming up for so long, and I'd always expected someone to create a South African version of what we read, right? So, and it never came. It was only after I had worked professionally as head illustrator on Super Strikers, after a while realizing that I'd gained, the technical know-how, and as well as the industry experience, that I decided finally to develop this South African superhero. And it was quite an experience. I mean, thinking about it today, creating South Africa's first superhero, obviously the first keys that you need to hit are definitely what are our cultures. What does a superhero that looks like me and speaks like me, what does that look like? How does that feel? And immediately, what was most important to me was to create something as authentic as possible, something that a South African can, immediately recognize and then be able to relate to.
Fantastic. And I mean, as a parent myself, it's absolutely amazing and vital that we have examples like this.
Absolutely.
Because our kids need to see people who look like them, being heroes as well. And so next week you have a lot happening, but of course, your first exhibition was titled Reflections of Truth, the second one Pulse, and next week is Black Magic. What can people expect?
Well, Black Magic is quite an interesting show because, it's 8 pieces, 8 very large pieces that speaks about the African or Black experience through my viewpoint. So I create these narratives through portraiture as I usually do. But this time it's with a different twist. I think it's really navigating the landscape of the Black experience and really cultivating what it is that fascinates me so much about these people who, for so long, historically speaking, and in the contemporary world, have been faced with overwhelming conditions, but still are able to overcome and transcend. That's Black magic. It's that Black excellence. It's that thing that we need to celebrate as young Black South Africans. And it informs who we are, really. The show itself was really inspired by Maya Angelou's, the late Maya Angelou's "Still I Rise," and then it's through that spirit of looking at oneself and appreciating who we are that I created or felt compelled to create such a body of work. So that show will be on Thursday, the 2nd of March, at 69 Berg Street in Cape Town. And I encourage everyone to come along and then have that experience that I really think is necessary, stories that I really feel are necessary to tell, particularly in this day and age.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Loyiso, for joining us. We wish you all of the best. You do a lot, and I'd like to actually pick your brain even further on, where you get your inspiration from. But as you said, a lot of it is, reading and just, looking at what makes Black magic, I suppose, possible. And, thank you so very much. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Now, so the Shady Lurker, DJ Warris, Deep Fried Men and Casper Nyovest have been cruising around the streets of Jozi recently, showing off one of 3 gusheshes the Reload Your Summer campaign is giving away. And well, because our producer, Selepe Maifadi, loves things, she tagged along to find out what we can expect in 2017 from Casper himself. Take a look.
Reload Your Summer, a campaign that is celebrating the rich culture of the iconic 325 IS BMW, better known as a Gusheshe in Mzansi. And who better to be linked onto this campaign than the Gusheshe hitmaker Casper Nyovest.
Well, the Reload Your Summer campaign, as usual, as to be expected from the brand, is innovative, it's groundbreaking, and it's always something different that the consumers can really engage with. It's been going super well, over 1 million entries in the past month, and we just got out of January. So I expect it's probably going to be on about 3-4 million by the time we announce the winners.
It's aimed at consumers who still want to have fun, still want to enjoy themselves, but the budget's just a bit tight because you are being Moreki in December. So understanding that, we built a campaign around that and really just decided to give away something that was once in a lifetime and that money can't buy.
I've always loved the cause since I was about 10 years old. Casper as well, he loves the cause. He was explaining to us in the car on the ride how this car growing up for him meant so much. It was his favorite car and he always wanted one. And of course he released a song about it, Kusheshe, which was the song that really put Casper Nyovest on.
The Gusheshe hitmaker is adding the final touches to his 3rd studio album. His debut album was named after his younger sister and the second one after himself. And if you're following this trend, then you can guess the title of this upcoming album.
Yeah, it's my best album yet, purely because I took my time and I've grown up and I don't have pressure. That's the other thing. I don't have, the pressure of doing well. Like, I've proved my point as an artist. People know, in terms of record sales and whatever. So I'm not trying to make an album that's gonna, have 26 singles or whatever. Like, I really just took my time and I expressed myself and let people know where I am. So it's a beautiful album. I can't wait for people to hear it as a whole. I got in the studio with Khwapile and we made 2 beautiful songs. Gemini Major, is a guy we've been working on for a while, and now he's popping off. He's like the coolest hip hop act right now. Tseho, also a guy that we've been working with. We just had his first big song, Hennessy. Whoever who was there while we were making the music, kind of like said, I like this song, can I jump on? That's how it happened. The story of the album is just, like a little kid who came from nothing, became something, got consumed by it, and fortunately realized, the power of humility and just going back home, you know what I'm saying?
Nyovest got the pleasure of being photographed late last year by world-renowned photographer Jonathan Mannion when he visited South Africa for the Beyond the Covers exhibition.
The album cover is shot by Jonathan Mannion. For those who don't know Jonathan Mannion, Google him. For those who are lazy to Google, he's basically the guy who shot 8 of Jay-Z's album covers. The Game, Eminem, you name it, man. Like Snoop Dogg, Big Pun, probably like 70% of your favorite hip-hop albums was shot by Jonathan Mannion, and he shot his first African, album cover with me. I'm not gonna rely on my music to play on radio or anything like that. I'm just making an album that's gonna speak for itself, you know what I'm saying? The music is gonna speak for itself, you know what I'm saying? So thank you for the interview. Make sure that you get the album when it comes out. I promise you'll enjoy it.
Nice one. Definitely looking forward to the next offering from Casper Nyovest, and with features like Khwapile and also the Roots Black Thought, it's bound to be amazing. Stay tuned. We're back after this break.
We make sure to be where news is happening,
both locally and globally. For the latest business news, stay with us. From South Africa to the world, we've got all your latest sporting news.
Don't miss our weather updates at every hour.
Stay tuned to News Today, Monday to Friday, from 3 to 5:30 p.m. here on SABC News.
Probably you should ask the question, is the ICC targeting African leaders?
For the life of me, I would hate to be charged with crimes against humanity. Very few people can deny nor ignore that there are crimes being committed on the African continent at this very moment. Now, we need to be able to hold people to account regardless of where they are from.
South Africa has a body of international law that it's committed itself to, that seeks to counter impunity in the world when it comes to gross human rights violations. In this specific instance, we have a problem. By the way, you must remember that South Africa has a law on extradition and mutual legal assistance that enable us to extradite any fugitive of justice from anywhere in the world so that they can stand trial for whatever crimes.
Watching Trendz. So Top Model South Africa is by far the most prestigious platform for new models to be discovered in South Africa. The grand finale was hosted last Saturday at Carnival City, and this is what went down.
Top Model South Africa is by far the most prestigious platform for new models to be discovered in South Africa. And the much anticipated grand finale was hosted this past Saturday at Carnival City in the Big Top Arena.
Top Model South Africa is a modeling competition, huge difference. So it's not your pageant, walk where you float on the stage. They're looking for girls and guys who can actually compete and walk a runway in London and internationally. So it's completely different. It's still a lot of pressure. It's still a lot of stress. I wouldn't say it's easier at all than a pageant like Miss South Africa, but I think it's an incredible opportunity that each and everyone here should definitely embrace.
The TMSA Grand Finale is one of the most talked about model events of 2017, filled with red carpet splendor, breathtaking fashion, attended by A-list celebrities and top media alike, who all had their favorites and advice to share.
I think everyone is fabulous. I stood with my friend and I was like, I don't know who's going to win here because they're all so great and they all have different looks that they're looking for. You get some that are tall, some that are short, some that have fierce looks and some that look really natural. So it's really hard to have one favorite, but I'm in love with all of them.
I think the judges are looking for an X factor and the main thing is body language. But for a lot of the guys out there, you hardly see them smile. And a smile is usually your winner. So my suggestion is smiling and body language. Those will really put you and separate you and put you apart amongst everyone else.
Confidence is key, absolutely. A lot of the people always said, gym, eat healthy, take care of your weight. It's not about that. You can be overweight and have the confidence that no one has, and you could be the underdog and hit them out of the ballpark. That's what it's about. Confidence is always key. Be confident and you already have 50% of a chance of winning.
So how does one get on board, you ask? Each campaign includes a diverse mix of finalists from runway to photographic and even mall scouts from all nationalities, and Top Model Show Weekend is one of the premier events of its kind.
We scout them and we also have scouts in different malls and any place, and that is what's so special because you see the talent and you take it from there.
Apart from the opportunity to be spotted and signed by various top agencies locally and internationally, the winners, one male and one female, will also compete in London for the international title Top Model Worldwide.
We train them, you won't believe it, but I actually started training last night and we had a model workshop 2 weeks ago, which is amazing, the talent and the high standing. They will compete in London. Our previous winner from last year is currently in London for a year. Yes.
The latter immediately elevates Top Model South Africa to a global platform. The two winners will be invited to London Fashion Week, a highlight on the international fashion scene, and will be walking in the most celebrated fashion event in the world. Last year's female winner, Andre Pretorius, went on to win Top Model Worldwide, which has subsequently catapulted this high fashion beauty into an international model.
Personally, I experienced that Miss South Africa is more towards the pageant side, and as they mentioned, that Top Model is more the modelling industry, high fashion editorial. So that is the difference between the two. From here, it's London Fashion Week, and from there on, every opportunity that comes my way, I'll be running to.
I'm feeling great, but every night I pray to the Lord, like, just please help me, and it's God's will, so thanks Lord, yeah.
Good day, Trendz. I'm Loyiso. I'm at the Big Top Arena in Carnival City, where we just had the announcement of the winners of Top Model South Africa. I do hope that you enjoyed it.
Right, so it's that time of the year once again when fashion lovers will get a glimpse of the latest trends off the runways that should, if you are fashion savvy, make their way into your closet. So at the media launch of this year's AFI, Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week held in Rosebank this week, we got the founder of AFI, Dr. Precious Motsepe, to let us in on a few but major changes for this year's event.
Louch. We're here at Mesh Club in Johannesburg for the Johannesburg media launch for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Cape Town 2017. We're so excited to see what AFI has got in store for us this year, and I know it's going to be one for the books.
Africa Fashion International celebrates a decade of fashion and design this year. Established as part of an unequivocal determination to propel and restore refined African fashion brands on the global stage, the Fashion Affair has also opened doors for young up-and-coming fashion designers to explore their fashion creativity.
Wow, it's been 10 years of really exciting moments. I think when we bought the company Leisureworks and turned it into African Fashion International, our goal was really to help to propel designers with so much potential from South Africa and from the continent and put them on a global scale. And I think we have achieved some of our goals. We've been able to showcase our designers in international platforms like New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week. Now, I think in South Africa we talk a lot about these designers that have become household names. A lot of our designers have run their own businesses successfully, and some export from South Africa internationally.
This year's Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week will be hosted in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Cape Town, and a stylish runway will be erected along Camps Bay.
We used to have Fashion Week in Cape Town during winter, and we decided that it was just not good, particularly for business. So, Cape Town in July, it's wet and it's cold, and people don't really like to go out. And during the month of March, you attract some of the tourists who come to the city, and our designers do well, business in terms of business during the March month.
The event will kick off with a silver carpeted launch with the lineup of old and young designers showcasing iconic moments over the past decade.
Day one, we're very excited. We've got Gavin Raja coming back into the game. We can't wait to see what he's bringing. We have Jenny from Habits. We have Stefania and Shauna Morlin. Very exciting. And to end our night, we've got Milk Colleen's, which is really an amazing brand. It started as a Pan-African. It's kind of taken roots in Cape Town, so we're excited to see what they showcase. Day two, we've got young designers in our first show slot. We have an offering of Botswanan designers that we're excited to see, what they bring to South Africa and how that influences our designers. We're ending day two with David Tlale as our big bang. And then day three, we're starting pretty early. We start around 1:30 and we go all the way to 9:30. It's a jam-packed day. We've got David Tlale, the intern. We've got Fashion Revolution. We have Adama Paris and Nkosi, and we're excited that we have Laduma.
AFI is known for its dramatic closing. Last fashionistas were treated to a dramatic closing, and 2017 promises to be even better.
Well, I think you need to be in Cape Town to really experience what's going to be happening. I mean, the big one would be also the 10-year celebration itself. We're going to have a silver carpet, a really amazing party to celebrate our 10 years, and that's going to be something really amazing to look forward to.
Okay, well, continuing our theme of fashion, if you are also, in the know and very fashion savvy and big on lifestyle and pop culture trends, you'll want to pay a bit more attention to everything my next guest is about to say. I have in studio the lovely Nicola Cooper, who is a consulting senior trend analyst who specializes in the globalization of trends for Africa. And today we're talking about all things style for autumn-winter 2017. Welcome to studio, Nicola.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure having you here. And so just touching on what we've been seeing just now, and to say Fashion Week and fashion shows even are such a very different event to going out on the town. And one thing that I observed last year, Nicola, was to say it's very odd the kind of fashion that you see people wear when they attend Fashion Week. So is there etiquette that people should know?
Absolutely. I think generally worldwide there is an etiquette that you need to follow when you are attending fashion weeks. Specifically if it's part of your job, I feel you have to dress the role, and it's also a lovely excuse to wear and represent local fashion.
Right.
So a lot of the times you'll see very, very cutting edge and people pushing the boundaries, and then you'll see your more classics. But I think it's the perfect opportunity to urge people to start being explorative with their own styles.
Okay. Well, let's talk then about autumn, winter 2017. What are the trends? What have you over the past, year or 6 months seen specifically with regards to what's happening here in Johannesburg and on the continent?
Well, there's obviously over the past sort of 2 to 3 years, there's been a massive increase in menswear.
Yeah.
And specifically in South Africa, with our introduction of SA Menswear Week at the same time as International Menswear Weeks were launched.
Yeah.
So we're on a par there, and there's some incredible stuff being done on those runways and pushing boundaries.
It was about time.
Yes.
It was about time,
It's also about time for men to step up, I think.
Of course, I couldn't agree more. All right, and so what's colors, fabrics, styles, what are we looking forward to this winter?
Well, I think it's very interesting, specifically in women's wear, that there is a notion in Trendz called the shifting of erogenous zones, which means in the past we've been showing a lot of skin, and now going into 2017, 2018, there's a lot of covering up. So we're seeing sort of high necks, we're seeing not figure hugging, so very, very relaxed sort of silhouettes with sloped shoulders, and more focus on comfort and luxury. So a lot of the times you're seeing luxury wools in oversized with elongated sleeves. Combined
but how do you wear those and not look clumsy though? Because sometimes people might see something in a magazine and we all have different bodies, different sizes, different heights. So how do you wear it and still look good and not clumsy?
Sure, and I'm the first person to say to you, not every trend is for you.
Yes.
And even though there are trends,
understood this.
Yes. So if you are a little bit full of figures and it's just going to make you look a little bit more clunkier, then cinch it in with a belt, or find something or some kind of scarf to sort of give you that figure. So it is understanding trends and then appropriating them to your personal style. Fashion is really about your personal style, about what you want to sort of evoke as an individual.
Okay. And so fabrics and colors, are there any that are no-nos that, do we do brights, do we do grays, browns, mix them all up?
Well, there is a very strong trend that actually eked over from menswear, which is tonal color blocking, which means it's not sort of jarring, opposing colors, it's your sort of tints and tones. So it's a variety of pinks or a variety of reds, and sort of on the same side of the color wheel. So it's not something that's juxtapositioning, and we're seeing that a lot in women's wear, specifically around the pinks and the more pastel colors that are coming in for winter 2017, 2018. It's very luxurious, it's lovely.
All right. Something caught my eye just before the picture that we're seeing on screen now, where we saw bra tops. What's that now?
Bra tops are an international trend for spring-summer 2017.
Right.
So if you a fashion-forward thinker and you're
Yeah.
thinking about December and your summer body already, bra tops are the way to go.
Okay.
And it really is more a pull on the trend of having your midriff showing. And that, as I said to you earlier, our shifting of erogenous zones where it was previously here, and then it was sort of the side, and then it was the short shorts, that your midriff is a continuation of a trend from 2016, 2017.
Interesting. And is outer or innerwear still outerwear? Like, oh, there's so many things when you are. There
is a throw to the sort of lingerie and pajama trends.
Yeah.
So either it's a nice slip or it's almost a silky pajama look, which is again exaggerated silhouettes. And what's quite lovely about that is very comfortable, and you can either wear it with a pair of heels or you can throw on a pair of sneakers and still have that kind of feel.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I'm going to try that. All right, Nicola, just a last question. What would be the one item you say for winter, even if it will be a little bit costly, but invest in something that will last you, beyond 2017?
I think it's always good to get yourself a really beautiful coat. So that's always something that you should invest in. And we've seen the continuation of the kind of sloped shoulders, which is a more relaxed fit. And it's just available in the most beautiful colors, from grays, as I said, to pinks and these lovely tangerines. So I would invest in a lovely coat.
Okay. And of course you can dress it up and put it together with anything in your wardrobe.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. We'll definitely be seeing you at a few fashion weeks, and perhaps you should come back to do one of our, taking a look at red carpet events and what people in Johannesburg do when they go out.
I would love to.
Thank you, Nicola Cooper. Pleasure
Thank
having
you
you in studio. All right, so we are about to go to an ad break. Please join us after this. We're still on Trendz. Now, this is Trendz, of course, your one-stop serving of all that's juicy and trending in the world of entertainment and showbiz. My name, of course, is Refill Wemwilo.
I'm Dr. Sello Mutaung, and this is our talk.
A very good morning and welcome to Media Monitor. I'm your host, Alicia Jolly.
My name is Dumila Matters.
My name is Mpo Sedu. What time is it? It's question time.
For your daily dose of current affairs, tune in to the SABC News Channel.
Technology is all around us and some can't live without it.
There's also the problem of internet connectivity.
I was speaking to a robot.
It also makes a few governments panic and therefore they block the internet from time to time.
They just banned the internet, which is the source of my livelihood.
For African technology and social media news, join me, Phumelele Zondi, on Network every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Welcome back. You're watching Trendz, a celebration of 29 whole years of South African contemporary dance, presented by the Dance Forum. The Dance Umbrella is currently taking place at the Wits Theatre Complex in Braamfontein. This year's program has commissioned about 13 works, and it kicked off last week, Thursday, with Nhlanhla Mahlangu's, this week, not last week, what am I saying? This week, on Thursday, with a piece titled Workers' Chant, and it's a production that celebrates the unsung heroes who built the city of Joburg with their bare hands. I'm now in studio with the Festival Festival's Artistic Director, Georgina Thompson, and Jazz Art Dance Theatre's Artistic Director for Space, Fiso Kweyama. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as you've just told me, Georgina, you are actually so exhausted, and this has been, since Thursday. But it's amazing. 29 years, and platforms like, the Dance Umbrella are also so very necessary. So take us through what's happening this morning. There was something already. It's a full program.
Yes, no, it's a full program. This morning we had a series of master classes, which will go on until about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then this afternoon we have a performance at the National School of the Arts. It's a big installation work from a South African-born choreographer who's now living in Switzerland. And tonight at the Wits Theatre there's 3 programs from 7 o'clock onwards.
Jeez. Okay. And so, Sfiso, you come in as artistic director, but I'm assuming years beforehand you're also on the stage and you've been dancing and whatnot. So take us through the talent that you've unearthed. What's going on, and what kind of productions are you a part of this year?
Well, I was a dancer before and trained at Jazz Arts in Cape Town, and then from there started freelancing around Johannesburg. And this time around I'm bringing a work called Space at the Dance Umbrella, opened last night and finishing tonight.
Okay. And what does Space deal with?
It deals with space.
So who took up your space or infringed upon your space?
You just knocked it. That's exactly that.
Yeah.
We're looking at we're investigating the forced removal, and also what does that mean to us who are living now, and the youngsters today. Can they still connect with what happened long time ago? Can we still go back to the areas we assume they were ours, or been told they were ours? Can we still go back to those areas? And during the creation, I realized that some of the people I spoke to, they said to me, no, I will never go back. I don't have money to rebuild my house, even if I'm given that land. So there are all those issues. Okay. Some people want the land back. Some people are saying, no, I'm fine where I am. But the question is, are you really fine, or you have actually learned to adapt and say, you know what, I have no other choice? But the
so very interesting when you say that, with, just the past couple of days and, the rising, again, xenophobic attacks and all of those, and everything you've just said about, okay, so if I am to go back, what's there to go back to?
Exactly.
And, then you don't have a choice, and you're here. And so, yeah, very, very apt and poignant for this time, in just the whole current affairs space in South Africa.
And that whole division basically led to what's happening now. We're in Pretoria, which started in Rosettenville. Today, we're seeing another black person as different from us. And if you look at history, it can tell you that's the first slaves to be brought in this country were Mozambicans, Angolans, and Nigerians, and all of them. And our history in this country, it's not actually teaching us that.
Yeah.
We just pick it up through research.
Yeah, bits and pieces, and some of the important things are obviously
so in this work, we bring
that
out as well, so that people are aware of the history of this country.
Right. Yeah. So very interesting, Georgina, for the fact that, this again translates that art actually mirrors life.
Oh, it does very much. I mean, just in the last 2 days of the opening programs, all the works that we watched is reflecting South Africa today in some way or another. The messages are strong, they're challenging, and they're amazing to watch. It fascinates me every year when I sit and watch, and I think, gosh, these young people really, they know what's going on.
And that's the thing, though, because they are so young and maybe don't have, the whole knowledge and history from years gone by. How do you, both of you, I suppose, manage to get them to tap into their emotional spaces to bring that out on stage?
Well, we don't tap anything really. We ask them to apply and send a proposal. We then go through everything and then we make a selection. Ultimately, it's up to the artists who are selected and then commissioned to create the work who produce what happens.
Okay.
So it's them.
Yeah.
You have to say it's them.
And what do you have to say? I mean, how long have you been a part of Dance Umbrella?
22 years
22 years. Okay, so pretty much, since inception. And over the years and decades, what have been some of your most fondest memories? And even just looking at, dancers like Sfiso who have gone from stage to behind the scenes, and some, of course, many who are now international dancers as well.
Absolutely. No, that for me has been the most wonderful experience of the festival, is having watched people on the sort of Stepping Stones program, which is the youth, developmental program, who are now internationally renowned.
Yeah.
I've watched them grow, I've watched them develop, I've watched them get picked up by international artists and festivals. That for me is the most gratifying of the whole thing, is to be able to offer that platform. And the nice thing about Dance Umbrella is we still focus on looking at the young artists. You know, because you have to keep that ball rolling. You have to let the young people come and have that space to show their work and develop from there.
Sure.
So for me, that's the best part of it.
Okay. So, and for you, just platforms like Dance Umbrella, you know, what has it done for you personally and also for your craft?
I think one of my first work was presented at the Dance Umbrella. And from that work, I then try and find new ways of creating more works. And basically, Dance Umbrella becomes that pot where we all get cooked, you know, as choreographers. Because it's an open platform. You don't pay a cent, but all that you do is just bring your work. The stage is there for you. And if your work is good enough, you don't know who's actually watching it, and they can pick it up and say, oh, let's go to France or come to my next festival maybe in Cape Town or somewhere, and then you get people look at you, and then from there on it's up to you how much work you put, how much hard work you put into your work, and then you can fly from there.
It's a big audition stage basically for people's careers. So just to close off though, one last question would be, you know, we talk all the time about the plight of musicians and the plight of, you know, filmmakers and film actors and actresses. What's the plight of dancers in South Africa at the moment? Not a lot. We have to wrap up. So
it's quite a lot. I think all of us are just still struggling like everybody else. But I think for me the main thing, if we can, education, go back to the school. At the school, dance is there. And why are we employing people who cannot teach dance? If you go to primary schools and because if you look at our curriculum, dance is there, but it's not being taught, or it's not being taught well. By the time you reach 16, that's the only time they actually start dancing. We need to see contemporary dancers dancing from the age of 5
and being trained
properly. That is when they are
trained properly, and you're not getting that.
Okay, so training from a young age. Thank you so very much, Georgina Thompson-Sifiso, for coming and talking about, you know, the Dance Umbrella, and congratulations again. 29 years into this, we wish you all the best, and to you as well, Sifiso.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. So, Hidden Figures is the incredible untold story of 3 brilliant African-American women working at NASA who served as the brains behind one of the greatest operations in history, the launch of astronaut John Glenn into orbit. Now, the U.S. mission to South Africa held a special screening at Monte Casino in celebration of Black History Month, with a panel discussion too about the challenges women face in the science, technology, engineering and mathematics fields. Now, as you would know as well, the lovely leading ladies Octavia Davis, Taraji Henson and Janelle Monáe have been raking up the awards since the Golden Globes in January, and we are all waiting with bated breath to see what happens at the Oscars, which take place tomorrow evening, 26th of February. Take a look at this next insert.
The gender disparity in science, technology, engineering and math fields, also known as the STEM fields, has been well documented. And this is the reason why young women should also pursue leadership in these fields. Entering a male-dominated environment can be intimidating, but there are those who have proved it can be done. Hidden Figures is a typical example of the potential the fairer sex has to achieve great and greater things. And a screening of this film was held in celebration of women making their mark.
Tonight is about girls. It's about our commitment at the U.S. Embassy to South African girls. We'll be doing a couple things tonight. One, we've got a fantastic panel that we're doing in partnership with IBM and the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. The panel will feature a number of women who are successes and strivers in the STEM field. And the panel will be followed by the film Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures, I haven't seen it yet, but there's a lot of Oscar buzz, tells the story of 3 African-American women who, at a time of great prejudice, overcame barriers to race, barriers to gender, and became mathematicians who helped propel John Glenn into space. Many hundreds of girls will take away, I hope, is 1, the lesson of history, go for what you want, be who you want to be, and 2, the models of success that they see. And all of our societies need to be broadly inclusive to ensure our success, whether in math or science or anything else.
Many young girls attended the screening who these panelists hope will find inspiration to join STEM. Dr. Buyi Sondezi is among those who broke into these demanding fields. Being a doctor, a wife and a mother, she exceeded all expectations and took the challenge in her stride.
So what propelled me into the sciences was that one day I'll be the first person who will find the cure for AIDS. So that drove me into doing the sciences and to choose physics and science, although it was perceived as a very difficult subject. And never mind that I grew up in the school whereby there were no facilities, there were no laboratories, and there were no maths teachers, no science teachers. I still said I want to be the first doctor who will cure AIDS and HIV, because people are dying left and right because of that particular disease. But when I went into tertiary, I found myself diverting into pure BSc. As I said, there was no role model, so all of those things were happening all by myself. I had to find my way through. When I couldn't get into medical school, I had to find another way. How do I continue studying? Because I want to be somebody, I want to make a difference in my community and probably, if possible, into the whole globe.
You have identification on it?
NASA, sir.
I had no idea they hired.
Quite a few women working in the space program.
As mathematics and physics are described as some of the most difficult subjects to take at both secondary and tertiary levels, pursuing careers along these paths open individuals up to a whole new world, in a place where you will be much sought after. But it only comes with hard work and determination.
To get towards your dream, you need to really stand your ground and really stick to science, because honestly, with the times that we are in the IoT space now, and science and technology will be the most dominant requisite for jobs and all of that, and we want girls to realize that.
One of the things that we are doing, especially myself, because I'm at the University of Johannesburg, so you find that most of the young girls, when they come from high school, they don't even know what careers are there in the sciences. So one of my duties is to bring them and mentor them and to show them the route. How should they work towards research? Because research, we find that there are many men, but there are very few ladies. So one of my responsibility is to collect a number of girls and then introduce them into research at an early age.
To the woman who made history in 1961 at NASA, you have set the bar high for generations to follow. We salute you.
I have the right to see fun in Africa.
Make sure to go and see Hidden Figures. It looks absolutely amazing. Well, we're going to an ad break. Come back after this because we're talking about another monumental South African film after this.
The only way to pour the perfect beer, this professional barman would tell you, is into a glass tilted at exactly 45 degrees. Oh, bless you. Bless you, sir. Bless you again. Well, we'd say the perfect way to pour a beer is at this angle, straight into your mouth.
Get a case of Amstel Lager 330ml handies for only $179.99 from Tops at Spar.
Typhoid outbreak that broke out in Zimbabwe's capital late last year has claimed the life of a 13-year-old girl in Harare's township of Mbare.
Most residents have put the blame on the Zimbabwean government for the debilitating economic situation.
There is no interest in the affairs of the city and the town, and really we have to do something about it.
One expert believes the Barclays Absa apartheid funding saga reeks of political factionalism. Yanni Rousseau
says things are not as they seem.
And the money, well, that was whisked out of the country.
Absa paid full value for the assistance. So from that perspective, I cannot see how it can be made out that Absa benefited.
Welcome back, you're watching Trendz. So Kalushi, if you don't know yet, is a biopic based on the life and struggle of stalwart Solomon Mahlangu, and it's finally coming out to cinemas. The film, which took nearly 9 years to complete, has been such a labor of love for Mandla Dube and the entire team, and has been hailed as an important South African story with a personal letter of endorsement from President Jacob Zuma himself. Now, it's directed by Mandla Dube, and it tells the story of Solomon Mahlangu, who was a freedom fighter out of Mamelodi, and he was just literally a township schoolboy and a hawker who, after the events of June 16th, joined the military wing of the ANC, Umkhonto weSizwe, to fight against the brutal oppression of the apartheid regime. I'm currently in studio with Walter Ez, who is one of the producers of the film, and also we couldn't get Thabo, but we definitely have another great actor. And Thabo, how are you? And welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
I mean, as I've just said, it took years. Walter, maybe perhaps the first person to speak to is you, because from where I'm sitting, we've been talking about this film for about 3 years, and we still don't know what has been happening with Kalushi.
Thank you, Rafil, for bringing us on the show. Kalushi, when you say 9 years, that's the beginning with Mandla when he started this road of getting his vision onto screen. He went through a journey of first a stage play, then potentially a TV series, and then getting the rights to be able to make the film, which took a number of years. To finally, about 3 years ago, when we got the script and we started getting the money together to make the film. And it's taken that amount of time due to lots of logistical elements and availabilities and all sorts of things to get us to a point where we had the distributor and we now have this national film release in cinemas on March the 10th, as you say.
Fantastic. Thabo Malema, how are you?
I'm well.
And so tell us about the role that you play and what this, being a part of this cast and this story has done for your life.
Firstly, I think that, it's a historic film that will outlive a lot of things and other films. It's fully fledged South African, so it's nice to have had directors like Mandla Dube and producers like Walter really trusting youngsters in the industry and saying, you know what, here's the baton, fly with it, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that playing the role of Mondi Mutaung, he's Solomon's close friend, and he's a loose cannon. Whenever Solomon tries to be...
Even looser than Solomon?
Yes, much looser.
Okay.
Whenever Solomon tries to rationalize something, he's the loose cannon. He's the one who wants to fight with fire. He's loud. He has no direction. And I think he's just hungry to make a statement out there.
Yeah. Okay. And Walter, as Thabo was also saying that it was young actors, and of course, Solomon and most of the youngsters that in those years were revolutionaries who were young and didn't see their age as any deterrence or anything. They were actually very, very much more fearless than youth of today.
Absolutely.
And so, a film like this, Walter, what do you want audiences ultimately to take away, other than the fact that, of course, to educate us, because many people don't even know of the story. Here was a guy from Mamelodi who, now of course there's a statue in Mamelodi of him, and people still visit the family home, but not much is known. And in our history at school, some of this history gets just shortened and summarized. So what do you want people to go away with?
Well, you reached hit on a very important point there. A couple of decisions were made when we started this process of making the film, and the one is to have South Africans tell the story. It's a uniquely South African story. It's also not, as you said, very widely known, particularly now amongst the youth. And so we looked at only South African actors and the youth, which we found an incredible cast. The message here is about youth. It's about struggle. It's about how to deal with life. And it's also about healing. Okay. But the difference in this is that the story is told from a universal point of view. In other words, it's not just another story about the terrible past, but it's about the characters and the people and how they lived on day to day, and the love interest that they had, and the family relationships all breaking down.
The very difficult ones at such a
very difficult
time.
ones. Within those circumstances, young guys, you said, living in Mamelodi, trying to make a living, hawking vegetables to keep his family alive and get through school and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then gets involved in stuff that
fighter.
he was really forced into, basically. So from that point of view, it's very powerful.
It is. I'm definitely sure it will be, and we will still be talking about it because it opens March the 10th at cinemas. I am personally very, very excited to see it, and people must go out and watch Kalushi. It comes out 10th of March. Congratulations to the entire team.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And so right now, this weekend, as many would know, is MMA weekend, and I have our producer Olwetu Mabovula, who is at the Chief Albert Lutuli Convention Center right now to give us a sneak peek of what to expect at tonight's Metro FM Awards. Hi Olwetu, how are you?
Okay. We are live at the Durban ICC with the 16th edition of the Metro FM Awards, will be taking place tonight. The Metro FM Awards seek to celebrate artists who excel in their craft in the previous year, which in this case we are talking about 2016. With me right now, I have Somizi Mhlongo, who is the choreographer, and I also have the spokesperson of the SABC, Mr. Casper Nyovest, who will be telling us about their involvement in this whole production. Somizi, please tell us, what does it take for you to choreograph a production as massive as this one?
Well, this will be my 8th Metro FM Awards ceremony that I'm choreographing. But this year, I think also the planning was done way in advance, that everything was in order. We knew which artists were going to perform, we knew what costumes they're going to wear, we knew what type of choreography we need to put together. But the logistics from the beginning to the end has been seamless. It's been tough, but it's worth every little sweat and tears. And South Africa today will be blown away. And remember, Metro FM, they are the trendsetters in the sense that they are the first award ceremony of the year. So anyone after this are skis.
And how many groups are you choreographing?
9 performances.
So how long does it take for you to put all these groups together to make sure that the final part is up for standard?
It's about 2 months of planning in terms of choreography, but with 2 weeks of physical rehearsals.
Okay, well, thank you very much for me. And again, now I'm going to be speaking to Mr. Casper Nyovest, who is the spokesperson of the SABC. Mr. Nyovest, please tell us, how long have you been working with this production over the years?
Yes, we have worked, it's the 16th year this year, but you must know that when the awards end, like tonight, when they end, we start planning for the one for next year, because we know that we've got a year from now to deal with that. But most of the work is done in the past month or two. That's when we put everything together and make sure that everything is done. But also, for the first time this year, we are doing everything, the production and everything in-house. And this is, today, people are going to see the might of the SABC, that we are able to do things with the people that work at the SABC, people like Somizi.
And then what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing when it comes to putting this production all together?
The challenges are always there, but we don't focus much on the challenges, because you must remember this is the only awards in South Africa that are all the categories are voted for by the public. Therefore, we know and that this is going to be what the public needs, and at the end of the day, it helps a lot.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nyovest. This was from the Durban ICC, where the Metro FM Awards will be taking place tonight on SABC 1. Catch them at 8 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So very much. That was Oluwethu Mabovula at Durban, and she has, as you saw, some Gaga and also Tate Casper Nyovest there. They're also bopping and they're ready. They're energized. 8 p.m. tonight, MMA 16 goes down. Thank you so very much for watching this episode of Trendz. Join me again next week, same time and place, with a repeat on SABC 3 Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Goodbye.